Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Ewood Park, which hopefully you'll be able to see a bit of behind me, behind my enormous scarf. I'm just about kept warm, thankfully, here, but I've been warmed by a brilliant Norwich City win. They have beaten Blackburn Rovers 2-1, their third 2-1 victory in a row. Very positive stuff. Teemu Pukki with both of the goals, marking his 100th appearance in style, and we'll come back to him a little bit later on, but as I said, it was a very good win. I think people will reflect on that as the season goes on as being a very big win, a win that for me really displayed Norwich City's promotion credentials. Early days, of course, I know, but look, if Norwich City are in this for the long haul, especially with the relentless schedule and particularly with how grueling the Championship is, and they're in a tough bit at the moment where you can't really see the end in sight in regards of there's no international break. It's just game after game after game. And Norwich City are finding ways to win those games. Today it happened to be Teemu Pukki, and it was a very good away performance, I would say, in terms of the way that Norwich had less possession today, which is very rare for them, very, very rare for them. I think they had about 44%. And they were very effective with how they used it. They countered well, they controlled well. There was only one period, really, again, as we'll come on to, that Blackburn really slipped into a higher gear. That was early on in the second half, mainly because of the threat of Harvey Elliott on the right-hand side, Norwich's left. And he scored a brilliant goal, got them back in the game. But from there, Norwich City got themselves quickly back in front and then controlled the final 20 minutes. It was a very good controlled display from Norwich City today. And I've just heard Daniel Farker speaking to BBC Radio Norfolk's Chris Gorham. He's very happy with it. Teemu Pukki as well used a word. And before we come to him, I think it's important to speak about this, which is mentality. Last year, Norwich City got accused of being a little bit too soft at times, a little bit too nice at times, not robust enough, not defensively resilient. And I think throughout Daniel Farker's time at the club, they've been kind of credited, rightly so, for the way they play football and the way they use and the way that they play through the thirds, and almost the goals that they score are because they take that one final pass or that extra touch or whatever that other teams maybe don't have the quality or necessarily wouldn't play in their preferred tactical style. So Norwich City do have that to their game, but this season it's less about the possession and it's less about their style of play, and it's more about their effectiveness and their quality and how that is helping them win games of football. And we're really seeing that this season. And today was a really good example of it. Two really good moments of quality from Teemu Pukki in the box. The second one, I am going to say quality because he's told me he definitely meant it. And I believe him, having seen a replay. So we'll say two really good bits of striker play by Teemu Pukki has won them the game today. But I felt even though they had 40% possession and like I said, Blackburn had more of the game, and this was a Rovers side that really we haven't really seen teams try and play Norwich. They've tried to frustrate them and maybe play a long-term sort of game and play a bit of cat and mouse with them. But this was a team really taking on Norwich City at their own game and trying to impose themselves in possession. And they've got some really, really good players. Harvey Elliott on loan from Liverpool is a good player. Adam Armstrong, Championship leading goal scorer prior to today. I don't know if Ivan Toney scored or whatever, but he was prior to today. And Norwich kept in largely quiet. Gallagher as well is a really good footballer. Bradley Johnson, we all know the quality that he possesses at this level, and yet Norwich City have managed to keep this team fairly quiet. And just before we go any further, we've got to give a massive shout out to Michael McGovern as well, who has taken some justified stick at times and has been criticised maybe for what he does in possession, his distribution of the ball, and maybe not quite being Tim Krul, but anyone who's had any doubts about him over the last however games, I think it's 6 games and 1 defeat, but equally go and look at that save very early on in the game. Conor Gallagher flicks a header from the corner. It's a brilliant reflex stop, throws himself at the ball and gets a hand to it and pushes it away superbly, prevents what looked like a certain goal, to be honest. And that really set the tone for Norwich City from there. They got back into the game. They looked to pick off Blackburn and utilise the space in the transition and on the counter-attack, and they did that and very effectively as well. Emi Buendia was quite quiet today, I thought, but Teemu Pukki really drive them forward. Ollie Skipp really drive them forward. Alex Tettey at times was capable of that as well. And it helped them get up the pitch, and they did that as a collective, and that was really important. And the first goal comes from Alex Tettey, who, again, we'll come on to in a minute in terms of milestones, but that's only his 6th assist in 250 Norwich City games, and he couldn't have saved it for a more perfect day. A lovely cross for Teemu Pukki, very similar to his goal against Swansea a couple of years ago in the Championship at the Liberty Stadium, if you remember that, where he kind of shot on the turn and catches the keeper out, catches the defenders out as well, and it was an excellent first goal, and again, at that point, Norwich City probably deserved it. And from there in the first half, Norwich really controlled things. And particularly from the offensive sense, they looked like the more likely. Teemu Pukki hit the bar from the same attack. Jakob Sorensen had a shot blocked, and then Teemu Pukki shot over. No idea how they didn't make it 2-0. Josh Martin got himself in a couple of really good shooting positions today, and maybe just lacking the confidence at the moment, or maybe the authority in the first team to pull the trigger. Looks a bit frightened of making mistakes at the moment, but some really nice touches in good areas. You can see the talent he has. It's just you want to go and see him have a shot, for example, from range. There was a nice moment in the first half where he exchanged passes with Mario Vrancic. The pitch had opened up for him centrally and looked like he was going to just try and curl it and look for the far corner in the goal. And instead he tried to play a pass to Vrancic, and Vrancic was in traffic and sort of spaced out in the end, which was a shame. But this was, as I said, a very effective away performance from Norwich City. And it always helps when you have the potency of Teemu Pukki. You have that option up front, that figurehead, that linchpin of your attack. And 100 games for him today in Norwich City colours, 50 goals. Now, I'm always told, and I've always been told, that if you get a 1-in-2 record as a striker, you are very, very good at what you do. Not many strikers manage it in over sort of a 10, 30, or over a season even. But Teemu Pukki's managed to do that over 100 games for Norwich City. 100 games, 50 goals. They are mind-blowing statistics. He's now joint 24th in the list of Norwich City's all-time top goal scorers, and he's managed to do that in 3 years. And he's managed to do that, let's not forget, with a period in the Premier League where there was about 6 months where he went without scoring a league goal. So some achievement for Norwich City's Finnish striker. Of course, signing him on a free transfer as well. That point hasn't been emphasised for a little while, so I'll do that again. And what he offers is just insane, really, in terms of the quality that he gives. He's a Premier League striker playing in the Championship. Let's not kid ourselves. And what he does give with his movement and his quality of finishing and his awareness and his intelligence is he gives Norwich some real, and that probably is the best word, some real intelligence at the top end of the pitch. Someone who enables their style of play, who enables them to move up the pitch, who enables them. Who enables the attacking midfielders to pick up those little pockets of space when he stretches the play. And I think when he leaves here, certainly in terms of quality, he'll be remembered as one of the best Norwich City have had in recent eras. A very different type of striker to maybe the battering rams of Grant Holt and whatnot, but a very effective one. And to score 50 goals at any club is no mean feat, but to do it at Norwich City in the amount of games that he's done it is pretty incredible as well. And I did ask him how he's going to celebrate, and he gave a little wry smile and just said he was going to get a plane home and enjoy the evening after the win. So a very diplomatic Teemu Pukki, but you can be able to hear more from him at pinkin.com when I work those quotes up later today. But some really good stuff on that occasion. And of course, a really good day for Alex Tettey as well. 250 games for Norwich City, which is even more remarkable a feat. Someone who's been so dependable over the years, so reliable. And I thought he showed that again today, really, in terms of how he broke things up, how he moved the ball forward, how he moved the play forward at times. There were a few progressive passes in there which aren't necessarily associated with Alex Tettey, and especially when you consider that at the start, when Daniel Farke first arrived, he was frozen out. He wasn't in the plans. He wasn't someone that people felt could adapt to the style that Daniel Farke wanted to play. And yet here we are, however many games later, and he's a really prominent part of this side. And I think what he does instill is that real commander-in-chief attitude in the middle of the pitch. He sets the tone, he sets the mentality for the rest of the group, and he's a real leader in there. Maybe not a loud leader in terms of how vocal he is, although he can be vocal on the pitch. I think it's more the quiet leadership, the arm around the shoulder of Ollie Skip when there's a slight error and pointing things out. Even when he's on the bench, there's been moments where players have come out and they put their arm around him and just point a few things out and leave it at that. It's that quiet leadership that I think people appreciate. A great character as well, a really lovely guy, and some achievement as well for a man who I think was going to retire about 4 years ago. So that's always really positive as well. Alex Tettey, 250 not out for Norwich City. That is some feat, some record. Well done to that man. I hope he gets a little bit of time to celebrate. But of course, Wednesday against Reading is round the corner. Let's talk about Norwich City, because I've seen a debate rumbling on all week about performances and results, and there's been this contrast from people maybe saying that the performances haven't necessarily married with the results, and Norwich City aren't perhaps as convincing as, let's say, Bournemouth, who won convincingly today. And I understand that point. I would again maybe stress that we've spoken to a number of opposition fans this season. We've spoken to a number of people who do my job but covering other football clubs, and very often the same sentence come up, which is they're the best team we've played this season. And you hear that a lot, actually. And I heard it from Forest. I heard it from Sheffield Wednesday, Middlesbrough as well. Just off the top of my head, there are a few clubs that have said that. Now, if that balances out, then that probably shows that this Norwich City side does have quality. And we saw that again on show today. Two real brilliant moments from Teemu Pukki, really. But if you take that sentence and you kind of stretch it out over a season, you look at how many people are saying it, then there's some merit to that. There's some truth in that. And maybe the reality is that Norwich City have enough quality to do really well in this division without maybe overexerting themselves. And I think we are seeing them push it into a higher gear regularly. They are or have been without key players. That is going to affect the nature of it and the quality of their performance. But they keep finding a way, and that is a testament to their mentality. I think you also have to understand that teams are playing a little bit differently against them. They're setting up differently. There's more expectation on Norwich City now to play. Emi Buendia, Teemu Pukki, these aren't the unknown quantities they were 2 years ago. There are teams specifically trying to affect how they play in games. That wasn't necessarily the case. So there's a lot of mitigating circumstances, but Norwich City are finding a way, and they continue to find a way, and good teams find a way. And this is a very good Norwich City team at this level. And this was a real show of their promotion credentials today, if they are to go on. And it did feel massive, even though there were no fans in here, and the place was getting pumped with fake crowd noise, which isn't to my liking. I think I'm going to go home and try and sleep tonight and hear that white noise essentially that they were playing around the stadium, which was deafening at times, but did at least give the place a little bit of life. And I guess for the players probably helped things. But just a quick word on Blackburn. They're a side, they were sitting in 10th prior to this game. They're Championship top goal scorers, and you can see why. There's a lot of quality in their ranks. Harvey Elliott, namely, the goal he scores is terrific. Brilliant individual skill. Beats Sorensen, puts it through the legs of Hanley and slips it past McGovern. Liverpool low knee, looks a really, really good talent. I had heard good things about him. I was quite excited to watch him play today. And what I would say is that it is clear now that teams are deliberately trying to target Norwich City's left side. And look, why wouldn't they? There's a midfielder playing left back. Teams wouldn't be doing their analysis correctly if they didn't identify that as an area of weakness. But then Norwich City and Daniel Farke was proactive in his changes. He strengthened that area. He brought Todd Cantwell, Kenny McLean on, and that helped shore things up for a little while. It helped Norwich strengthen that left side. Harvey Elliott eventually tried his luck on the right, sort of or his left, Norwich's right, in the dying embers, and didn't really have too much joy. And there was a triple change as well from Tony Mowbray, brought off Bradley Johnson, Joe Rothwell and Lewis Holtby, changed the entire midfield, and they just lost the intensity thereafter. And actually, the final 20 minutes, Norwich City could have added to their tally. Jordan Hugill squares it to Marco Stiepermann late on. Stiepermann hits his shot straight at Kaminski. And then prior to that, it's Teemu Pukki controls the ball well, opens up his body. It looks like that typical finish where he's just going to slide it in the bottom corner. Todd Cantwell takes over. Doesn't really have much conviction in his strike, and Kaminski saves again. So this could have been a lot more convincing for Norwich City today. They could walk away here easily with a 4-1 win. I don't think Blackburn could complain too much, but look, they didn't. It was 2-1. It's the third 2-1 win in a row. As Teemu Pukki pointed out after the game, there's a lot of resilience in this group at the moment, and they took a lot of criticism for their mentality last season and how they approach games, and maybe that soft underbelly. We're not necessarily seeing that as much now, and I think a lot of that is the structure that they've built with Ollie Skipp, with Alex Tetty, with Grant Hanley, who is excelling. Christoph Zimmermann, I felt, was very good today as well. So they're doing enough to win games of football, and they need to continue doing that. And of course, there's no respite. They go to Reading on Wednesday, aside again who harbour genuine promotion ambitions. I think we've seen that now from the opening 18, 19 games now. They're not a side at the top or near the top of the table by a fluke. They're a good footballing side, and they will pose a difficult test for Norwich City on Wednesday night to go and overcome. It's about getting the recovery right, trying to get some of those bodies back. It was great to see Jordan Hugill come on for a few minutes at the end. Probably a bit gutted he didn't have an assist after he snatched the ball. And one thing I will say is this: I think when Darragh Lenihan goes to sleep tonight, he's going to have nightmares about Teemu Pukki, because every time he had the ball and Pukki was pressing him, he looked absolutely terrified today. And that probably sums up how Norwich City have done here in the Northwest today. Another 3 points, still top of the league. Injuries easing a little bit. It would be dangerous to not be getting a little bit excited, I think, by this Norwich City side at the moment. Thank you very much for watching. Pinken.com is the place to go for all the reaction and analysis to this victory. We've got a long trip home now, back to Norfolk from the Northwest, but made all better by a Norwich City win. Thanks for watching. Stay safe. See you soon.